is to use the book that the teachers give you. It's just to go back into the chapter you're looking at and take notes, do practice problems or whatever.
I think it's really effective to first lay out your schedule for the day and say, okay, this is my homework, these are the tests I have tomorrow, and then block out times so you can successfully complete whatever you have to do.
I know that I found like a lot of practice quizzes online for different subjects, especially for history, and those really helpful. And also just using like flashcards, and I even use online flashcards, and I get like apps on my phone. Because let's be honest, we all have our phones with us at all the times.
Spread it out. Don't stay up all night doing one assignment. Spreading it out is probably the most helpful tip that I can give you.
Writing helps immensely because the connection between your brain and then your pencil and then the act of writing out whatever notes you need, it makes a stronger connection so you're able to remember that information more. And then I like to draw pictures, so note cards, especially for Spanish vocab, that's a great way for me to study.
One of the most helpful studying things for me has been using note cards and writing definitions and writing why it's important on the note card and then going through and studying that.
So with AP classes, definitely devote more of your time and energy and resources to doing well in those.
But now for you guys, I would say visit the NHS help desk, and people like us will be there to help you out.
And then the right place is another very valuable resource because it helps to have another teacher look at your paper and then critique it in a way that is constructive so that you can make the best out of what they have given you and you have a better paper then.
I think that the ones in the LMC and the IRC are very useful, like the help desk, the right place, and the math help. I think those, if you need help, they're very good resources that you can turn to for help from teachers and students.
So I'd say definitely take advantage of all of the teachers here. A lot of them are going to be here before and after school, and they'd definitely be willing to help you out. So don't be afraid, just go ahead and talk to them, and they'll be glad to help.
Yeah, and also you can always ask the people who have taken classes the year before, and you can ask them, oh, like what are some things that you did, or how did you feel about this concept? Do you mind explaining it to me? And again, all the resources that we have in the IRC are definitely very helpful.
Really big mistake, because teachers are the ones who are actually teaching you the material firsthand. They know exactly what's going to be on the tests, what you should know, and they're such a great resource for information, for studying, how to study, and just the content overall, that you should not overlook them.
And a lot of teachers will actually have like links on their websites for places to study, and a lot of kids don't know about that, so I think going onto those websites will help.
I have advice that I have not been following until this year, but I think it's pretty good advice. It's basically what I answered for the other questions. Make lists of what you have to do, know when things are due, and put deadlines on them early, and try to be as concentrated as you can when you're doing like homework on a daily basis. So that means like not checking your phone every few minutes. And I know I have that problem, and a lot of people have that problem. But like even though you say, oh, it's just a few minutes, it's really gonna add up, and then it'll make like 1 hour of homework turn into like 3 or 4.
I'd say calendars are the biggest thing in my life that keeps my life together. I'd say put everything on your calendars. Just make sure there's not a single detail of your life that you're going to forget about. There's not a single task that you're going to forget about. Just keep it all on an online calendar or write it down in an assignment notebook.
Some assignments are going to take you longer than others, so I definitely recommend, like if you had to read 20 pages of a history book and then you just had like one worksheet for Spanish, personally I'd read the history book first, because if it's like 11 o'clock at night, you're going to have a lot harder of a time reading 20 pages in the history book than just filling out a worksheet.
Try to weed out things that might waste my time, like spending a lot of time watching TV or spending a lot of time on the computer, because I know that those would hurt me in the end.
So the best thing is to chunk it up. So like do some of the easier homework first, then do a little bit of something hard, come back to it, and then finish it off.
And don't procrastinate on things, which is really, really hard to do, but it's honestly the most beneficial thing you can do.
I make the most out of my study halls. So instead of going to lunch, I'll go to study hall and I'll just eat throughout the day. That gives me 50 minutes of time to do my homework before I get home. Then I have a second study hall that I make the most of. That's almost 1.5, 2 hours of homework that I get done before I go home. So essentially when I get home, I just do homework for like half an hour and I'm done. I can just chill the rest of the day.
So especially when you have some more creative extracurricular activities which involve maybe video production or things of the nature, allocate a specific amount of time for them and then allocate specific amounts of time for academics and stick to a schedule.
Some days I will have work until like 7:30 and then I practice clarinet until like 9. So then I won't get my homework started until then. So then I just need to make sure I focus on getting my homework done so I can sleep.
So for me, I definitely say take advantage of your weekends because I do like sports during the week and then I have like clubs and activities during the week as well. So that leaves my weekends pretty open. So and weekends you have the entire day to work. So there's definitely no problem in like getting as much homework as you can done over the weekend. That really helps out during the week.
Yeah, and I also think another thing that you can do is to make sure you have a whole schedule for your month. Like at the beginning of the assignment notebook, there's like the big calendar, like monthly calendar, and so you can fill out what days you have what clubs, and that way you know what's coming up, so you're not surprised like, oh, there was like an FBLA meeting, I totally didn't know. So if you have everything already in front of you, you won't have to juggle everything right when it comes to you. You already know beforehand.
Yeah, and with that, a lot of extracurriculars like sports and clubs, they have designated times, and normally they don't demand as much of your time and your energy as academics will, so it's important that you structure academics around the times of your sports and clubs.
Junior and sophomore year, I put extracurriculars before academics and my GPA took a huge dent and I highly regret that. Make sure when you get home, you focus on academics before you even think about doing your extracurricular work.
I balance academics and extracurricular activities by just making the most out of the time that you have. So whether you have a club after school or not, get your homework done in this few moments that you have, just so that when it's 11:30 at night, you still aren't faced with an entire paper to write.
Well, with the academics and extracurricular, I think it's awesome to be involved in everything because it's so cool to be part of your high school. That's one of the greatest things. And it's easy if you have something right after school where you can just do that and then come home and get all your work done and then have the rest of the night free. And it's very easy to just go from one thing to the next thing and then be off.
And especially doing the things that you want to do in high school can help you develop new interests, meet new people, and have more fun.
I start studying like 2-3 weeks before. I go through all my notes, I mark what I don't know so well, and I make sure to study that above everything else. If there are some things that I think I know, I'll largely skip over those because I understand that there's a lot of subjects where there are a lot of things I simply don't remember. I identify what I don't remember, and then I make sure to study that most.
Well, for the January final exams, I think I usually do a lot better on those because you have a lot more time to study because you have winter break off. So during winter break, even though I do want to rest and recuperate from first semester, I do understand that you got to study for finals. And so during that time, I'm making study guides, making more flashcards, going to the library, getting out of the house to find a good study environment so that I could do the best that I can do on my finals.
Ooh, one thing I like to do is go with a couple of friends to Barnes & Noble because it's a place where you can't really talk loudly, but you can also like focus on your own studies. And there's also the mall if you need a little break, and there's like a little cafe to get food.
Oh yeah, also one thing a lot of students don't do that they should is realize that finals is coming up at the end of a semester, and they don't realize that from the beginning. So everything that you're covering from the beginning to the end is gonna be in the final. So why don't you just think about the final starting from the beginning. So all everything you learn, try to remember it. As you move on to later chapters, try to refer back to previous chapters and make connections, because that will ultimately help you study and memorize. Not just memorize, like actually know the content so you don't cram like the night before.
Well, ever since freshman year for the winter final exams, I've always gone into the bathroom on the upstairs of my house, and I bring in my a baseball roller chair that I had since I was 8, and I put my computer on the side and I listen to full albums of any artist, and I just go and I study everything, and just being in that enclosed space by myself, I don't know, it helps.
Finals are always super difficult, but keeping all your worksheets from throughout the year or all your notes is the best thing, and then doing the study guide off of those, just so that you are reviewing all the information and really hitting what's super key or what your teachers really want you to know.
And also, I definitely use the internet as a resource. A lot of times there will be outlines of a certain textbook online, and this is really helpful for finals, especially because it doesn't go into the details, but you really won't need those. And also, YouTube has a lot of great overview videos, especially I know what is it called, the history ones. By John Green. John Green, yeah. Crash Course History. Those are fantastic resources to use for final exam studying.
I think just to stick with a lot of things, especially band or orchestra or chorus or something, those are very rewarding experiences, and if you stick with them, it'll be really good.
I didn't really pay attention, so I joined one club. But then as high school keeps going on, you realize you have enough time to do other clubs. A lot of them don't really have that much of a time commitment. And you hear about all of your other friends doing all these different things, and you feel like it's too late. So definitely take advantage of that.
Yeah, I would say the same thing. I think the biggest mistake that I had done was thinking, I just want to do one thing. I don't want to try the other things. I'm not too sure. But for clubs, you can just go and try. Even if you have no idea what a club is about, you can go sit at their first meeting and you can just listen to what they have to say. And if you like the idea, you can just keep going. Or if you think, this isn't really for me, you can do whatever else you want to do.
And then I realized, coming into junior year, oh my gosh, this is a really cool club, but I'm only going to be able to do this for 2 years because I didn't realize it sooner.
I probably would have stayed more serious freshman and sophomore year when I was about grades, because those are the years that really count, because you start your freshman year and then that's the spot that they judge you on for the rest of your high school, because that's where your grades start, and your GPA is just accumulation of all of that. So you need to start strong in order to finish strong.
Even though college doesn't seem very close when you're a freshman or a sophomore, be aware that it is coming up, and everything from freshman to senior year counts. Don't slack off because your classes are going to be easier than they are in the later half of high school.
One of the worst feelings in the world is being home on a Sunday and then trying to relax, trying to hang out with friends, and then realizing that you still have homework to do. What I do now, which I should have done freshman, sophomore, and junior year, is as soon as I get home on Friday, I do all of my homework. And then over the weekend, when my friends are freaking out about all the homework they have to do, I'm just sitting, I'm just watching TV. I get to hang out with friends without having a single worry in the world. And that feeling is one of the best feelings you'll have in high school.
Our school has really cool resources such as databases and other things that the library can offer, so use them because they're really helpful.
But for you people that don't want to do anything, just get involved with one thing and find something that you really enjoy doing.
And you will change a lot in high school, so don't think that your steps as a freshman are going to pave your way, because you'll get new friends and you'll have B's in classes and stuff, but it's all about what you make of it and how it all ends up. So enjoy it.
Don't sit on the sidelines. Don't just hole up in your room and do schoolwork.
My biggest thing is join something and be involved, because it's a lot of fun and you meet a lot of new people.
At first it seems really overwhelming. I remember freshman year I got to the school and I was like, whoa, this is crazy, this is so big, I have no idea where anything is, but it gets better.